The amount of lost media out there is vast. And while all lost media has a tinge of mystery tied to it, some stand out as significant oddities in media history. These are just a few pieces from the odder side of lost media. In 1964, German film director Werner Herzog created a 14-minute short titled Game in the Sand. While the director is known for some surreal themes and imagery in many of his successful films, and for eating his shoe apparently, this short is something Herzog is not proud of, even contemplating destroying the negative of the film before he dies. While he's not willing to reveal all that occurred during the filming, he revealed some details in the book Herzog on Herzog. The film involved 4 children and a rooster, with the rooster being buried up to its neck in sand.
The enormity of their stupidity is just overwhelming.
It's speculated that something rather graphic occurred during the film, as Herzog claimed the shoot moved out of control. He stated only 3 or 4 people have ever seen the film, and I'm sure it'll remain that way for good if he can help it. Really unsettling to imagine what could have happened to that little rooster. The First Men in the Moon was a sci-fi film made in 1919. Based on the H.G. Wells novel of the same name, H.G. Wells was said to be overseeing costumes and sets at the time. A synopsis was discovered in a June 1919 issue of the Bioscope, with the addition of mixed reviews from moviegoers, but other than this still, the film has remained lost since. Author Robert Godwin published a book covering the film's history, production, and even more stills apparently. I couldn't find them online, so you'd have to buy the book. I'll leave a link to it in the description for anybody interested. There's more nutrition in the cardboard box than the cereal. Who says this? Well, I don't know. Apparently someone did, and Mythbusters had begun an experiment to either prove or disprove this weird myth. Host Adam Savage explains how the experiment went.
We got some lab mice, and we set up a set of cages. And we had one cage where the mice were eating regular mouse food, another cage in which some very happy mice were eating Fruit Loops, and a third cage in which the mice were eating these little mouse food-like pellets of cardboard that Jamie had made. And things went fine for about 5 days. So he was the one monitoring the mice, and it was Friday afternoon. He's going to do the final pre-weekend check, and they all look like they're pretty good, except for the cardboard mice are admittedly a little, like, something's different about their movement than the other 2 cages. So he packs up, turns the lights out, and comes home. When we came in on Monday morning, the situation was very, very different. In the cage with the cardboard, there were no longer 3 mice. There was one really fat mouse. And the other 2 mice were like from a Chuck Jones commercial. They looked like the fat mouse had eaten them like corn on the cob. They were a head and a tail and nothing but a rib cage in between. So we immediately nicknamed him Killer. And I held him up to the camera and I said, "This is what happens when mice attack." And we thought it was really hilarious, and Discovery did not think it was very hilarious. And then, but by the time Discovery didn't think it was hilarious, I'd already gotten a rough cut on my computer, and I took it and I showed it at a college, I think like Northern Michigan Tech or something like that, and it got this massive response. And then Discovery called up and were like, "Please don't ever show that again."
Which means there is a copy, and it could maybe get leaked if Adam didn't destroy it, but I wouldn't want to mess with big networks either. Legends of the Hidden Temple, one of Nickelodeon's greatest game shows, has quite a number of episodes, but there is one particular incident that has never aired. an incident where during a temple run, a female contestant becomes sick while in the pit of despair. Kirk Fogg, former host on Legends of the Hidden Temple, describes the scene.
But I just remember this one girl, and it was she was going through the temple, and she just had a complete meltdown in the pit of despair, which was great, which is great. She had it was just like, and we didn't want to stop tape, and she was bawling her eyes out, but then we had to stop tape because then she vomited into the pit. Cut! Cut! So they cleaned her up, reset the tape.
Woo! Super fan! Let me get a pic real quick. Hey!
Get out of here! Okay, all right.
No control of your own program. Look at that.
Hey, they're the neighbors. I have no.
It's possible that the girl was physically exhausted from the temple run and fell ill. But no matter the cause of the incident, the footage and episode were most likely scrapped, and it is not likely that any footage still exists. While the Mickey Mouse short, The Pointer, was being written, Walt Disney would physically act out scenes, like how Mickey would react when facing a bear. The animation team enjoyed him acting as Mickey so much that they asked him to perform as Mickey Mouse on film to be used as an animation reference for the studio. Walt was hesitant because it would be pretty embarrassing, but he agreed to be filmed, only if he was shot from far away without anyone looking at him. He was said to be dressed in baggy clothes and a felt hat, thus being a perfect reference for the short. However, when animators looked for the footage years later, it was nowhere to be found. The funniest conclusion to this would be that Walt confiscated the footage himself because he was embarrassed. But that's just speculation. On one fateful day, March 20th, 1969, a 42-minute long shot showcasing John Lennon's private part was cast upon unsuspecting viewers at the Institute of Contemporary Art in London. The film was a team effort by Yoko Ono and John Lennon, an experimental film utilizing 2 screens. The point of the film was to show it rise, then fall, or something, on one screen, with Yoko recording the audience's reaction on an adjacent screen. But unfortunately, the equipment Yoko was using to record hadn't been turned on, failing to capture any filmed reactions. Film critic Philip French shared his quite detailed viewing experience, stating the film felt like an eternity, and that the film was jokingly called John Lennon's John Thomas. He was also very descriptive of what came out of John's... Need I go on? Since Yoko Ono is a known perfectionist, especially with her artistic works, it's doubtful that she would ever release the film without the recorded reaction of the live audience. This one is a case of media being re-edited due to a real and tragic event, coincidentally occurring during a broadcast. The game show Robot Wars Extreme Series 1 was a special run of Robot Wars episodes, broadcasted in 2001 from October to December on BBC Two. It was episode 5, where a robot named Anthrax was entered to compete. The original episode aired October 12th on BBC Choice. But on the same day the episode aired, an NBC employee tested positive for anthrax poisoning in connection to a series of anthrax attacks that began in 2001, which were mailed to unsuspecting recipients. Due to the awful association of the name and the attacks, BBC ordered an immediate recut of the episode, which removed every uttering of the robot's name Anthrax, changing its name, and refilming the interviews in an effort to erase all mention of the word anthrax. The edited version of the episode has been rerun long after the original version aired, but the original version has never been found. While still on the topic of Robot Wars, previous host Jeremy Clarkson was almost decapitated on set once, with the footage of the fateful accident also being lost. A robot ironically named Metal Death was sawing into another robot that lost the competition, when suddenly, the saw disconnected and flew 200 miles per hour at a concrete wall directly behind Clarkson. While Clarkson was unharmed, the footage analyzed by the crew showed the blade, while embedded into the wall, was 2 inches away from making contact with Clarkson's scalp. Despite how dangerous the event was, Clarkson apparently did not use the accident as his reasoning for leaving the show. November 26, 1977 at 5:10 p.m., Southern Television was hijacked during their ITN news broadcast. According to those who witnessed it live, the hijacker called themselves Gillen, Vrillin, or Astron, and claimed to be an alien who was part of an intergalactic association, warning humans to open their hearts and minds to the universe's cosmic truth and love by destroying all weapons of evil, or face removal from the solar system. The hijacking lasted about 6 minutes until the audio cut out, with Looney Tunes audio playing on the normal return broadcast. The hijacker's true identity is still unknown. YouTube user Paranormal uploaded the audio to their channel in 2008, with this being the agreed upon real audio.
Has accepted Mr. Smith's offer to negotiate an internal settlement based on one man, one vote. But, he says, there are conditions. These include stopping the execution of all captured prisoners of war, allowing Europe to take part in negotiations. In Australia, Mr. Kerry Packer's cricketers are still pleading the right to yesterday's High Court decision, which lifts the ban on them playing test matches.
This is the voice of Remark, representative of the Ashtown Galactic Command, speaking to you. For many years you have seen us as lights and as shadows. We speak to you now to tell us as we have done to your brothers and sisters all over this, your planet Earth. We come to warn you of the destiny of your race and your world, so that you may communicate to your fellow beings the course you must take to avoid disaster which threatens your world and the beings on other worlds around you. This is in order that you may share in great awakening as the planet passes into the new age of Aquarius. The new age will be greater peace and liberation to our race, not only your rulers are made of general justice and command shadows. Be still now, and listen, for your chance may not come again. All your weapons of evil must be removed. The time for conflict is now past, and the race of which you are a part may proceed to the higher stages of its evolution, if you show yourselves worthy to do this. You have but a short time to learn to live together in peace and goodwill. Small groups all over the planet are learning this, and exist to pass on the light of the dawning new age to you all. You are free to accept the protection of teachings, those who learn.
Many go as wide as they then they run out.
Here now, the voice of Rilon, representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command, speaking to you. Be aware also that there are many false habits and guides of people operating on your world. They will suck your energy from you The energy you call money and will put it to evil ends, giving you worthless cost in return. But in a divine self to protect you from this, you must learn to be sensitive to the voice within you that tells you what is true and true. Learn to listen to the voices within you. Lead your thoughts. This is our message.
I really appreciate that we can't do anything. I insist on delicious, full of only really choice ingredients. I can have 9 lives.
Have no fears. Keep on need to know yourself and discover with the race of your planet. The Ashtar Galactic commands your attention. You are now leaving the phase of your existence. May you be blessed by the supreme love and full.
The live footage of the hijack remains lost, but just listening to the audio, it's easy to conjure up some off-putting visuals, whatever those could be. That was just a few of the odd ones. Some more disturbing than others, but I hope these were an interesting glimpse into how the weirdest media can come and go. In the meantime, I humbly ask that you do not feed mice cardboard or bury feathery animals in sand. Thank you and good night.